Everything you walk through, there's a purpose for it. Everything you walk through, if you're in the fire, I've allowed it. Did you know that gold can only be refined in the fire? Gold can only be refined in the fire. Gold can only be refined in the fire. It only has value after the fire. Before the fire, it's the potential of value. But after the fire is when everyone wants it. Because it's the other metals that can't hang in the fire. It's the other metals that have to be melted off the gold. It's the fire of testing that God allows us to walk through that is purifying the call of God. If you want to be called, if you want to be chosen, if you want to be someone that's hot or cold going for God, you're going to have to walk through some fires. I don't know what your fire is. All our fires look different. We may be in one together right now, but God only allows the fire because he loves you. He trusts you. Remember Job? God allowed him to walk through fire. You know why? Because Satan showed up in heaven. And he's like, who do you got? And God said, have you considered my boy Job? God is the one who put his name up on the thing. It wasn't Satan that came up with Job. It was God. I thought God loved Job. He does. He knew who Job was, even if Job didn't know how powerful he was. He knew the gold inside of Job would only come out through the fire of testing. Satan said, he only loves you because you've protected him. He said, well, then I'll take down his protection. You just can't kill him. And Satan comes in and destroys his life, ravages his life. Job says this comment. Look at this comment he says about the gold. Job 23:10. He knows the way I take, and when he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. Then look what he says in continuation. He says, my feet, verse 11, have closely followed his steps. I have kept his way without turning to the side. I didn't ask for out of the fire. I worship him in the fire. I have not departed from the commands of his lips, and I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my daily bread. Job became valuable because he allowed God to put him through the fire that created passion in his life. I know maybe you're walking through some things that have made you a cynic and made you lukewarm. Don't let the fire make you smell like smoke, but let the fire burn off everything that is not of God. Gold has to be mined. It has to be dug for in riverbeds and rocks. Miners in biblical time would dig to find raw ore containing precious metals. And after it's dug into, it has to be crushed. The rock has to go through crushing. The ore has to go through crushing to break it into smaller pieces so it can be easier to separate the valuable gold pieces from the surrounding rock. I don't know if you're in the digging process or you're in the crushing process, but all of it is a process to call you to a higher level. And then after the initial extraction, there's the refining process, smelting it with fire. The primary method for gold in ancient times was the crushed ore would be placed in a furnace and heated to an extremely hot temperature. The process involved burning away the impurities or dross of the other metals. God was not trying to kill the gold. He was trying to kill what was killing the gold. The fire you've been through, if it didn't kill you, you found the gold. Whatever is not with you anymore was not meant to be with you anymore. It was a part of you at a time, but God crushed it off or he burnt it off. And now he's revealing your true identity as his gold that has been tested by the fire. The intense heat causes the gold to melt and separates it from the impurities of the others. As the liquid gold melts, the impurities rise to the surface. Isn't that how it always is in the fire? That anger that you thought you dealt with comes up. That bitterness you thought you dealt with comes up. It's always in the fire. You're like, hey, you're a little spicy today. Are you in the fire? That's not usually around you. I always see gold on top. Yeah, something's coming through the surface. The only reason why it's allowed to rise is so we could remove it. Don't leave it. Don't let it cool and stay. Oh, that's still there? I get that out of my life. Why? Because I'm purifying this gold. I'm making the fire worth. You want the fire to be worth it, or do you want to go back in the fire? I'm gonna make this fire worth it. Okay, there's that anger, there's that offense, there's that hurt. Whenever something comes up, that's because you're in the fire and God is in the process in your life and He's refining you. He's pulling the intense thing, the other metals out, and He's purifying you. He's skimming it off and burning it away. And all that's left is the pure gold to be poured into molds. God doesn't want to just create the liquid gold in your life. He wants you to become molded in His image. He's pouring you into the mold of His Son. He said, I can't work with lukewarm molds. I need you to be hot.